breeze don't blow, foul nyash don't show. I thought I was saying all this talking couldn't have just been mere coincidences. Like Natasha today, Natasha tomorrow. What? The trap Akpabio is setting for Natasha is about to catch him. One thing with petty souls is that they think they are wise, but sometimes in their pettiness, they get caught up in their own web. Call it allegations, call it whatever. There are elements of truth in them. This is the plot. The whole plot seeks to malign Natasha just to keep her shut down, keep her in a position where they want her. It started with misappropriation of funds in the committee she belongs to, the local content committee that she chairs. Now they wanted a situation where they will make it appear like she's disobeying the rules of the Senate just to keep her in a position. And what's that position? First, suspend her. Then, you know, when you're suspended, if they reconsider your position or they recall you, they give you conditions. In fact, like, put her in a corner where she will be disadvantaged. Like, shut her up.
Dismissed Senator Natasha, please, you are not recognized to speak from there.
So what played out in the House was invoking an order of Senate just to say she is falling short of this order. But attack Natasha to your own peril. Akpabio no remember say this lady has been fighting. She fought with young Kogi governor Yaya Bello. She fought with Yaya Bello and she won. These people want to use an order of Senate to relegate a senator who came to serve her people. Not the seat warmers, or not the ones that are looking for a job. Like when they cling this job, it's all. They just stay there loyal, like, I don't want to lose my opportunity. I don't want to lose this job. I just have to play by the rules. People who challenge status quo look troublesome. They look like they're always waking up sleeping dogs, because the system will fight back. The corruption they are fighting will fight back. Look at where she's been accused. Monthly, you are giving money that doesn't belong to you, whether or not it's used. It doesn't belong to you. It's government money. It's money for the people. Why don't you figure out what those monies can be best used for, other than pocketing them and sharing them? And that's exactly why they fight to be in committees in that Senate. Okay, the other, a senator, and then the question is, do you just pick on one senator per time? Or are there sets of senators that you have told to move the same time? You know, when this lady said, I am not afraid of you, it couldn't have just come by an order to stand up from your seat and leave. Something has been cooking. That statement carries a lot. It means that something unknown to the public has been happening. And at this time, when they want to put her in a place, put her in her place, put her in their place, or whatever place they want to put her, I was to finally shut her up. But you know, I no go gree, I no go gree. So she too invokes the order, and this order of privilege for senators is also checkmating this whole authoritarian order in the Senate that petty elements like Akpabio would want to take advantage of. There is no order that doesn't have a session that will also put it in check. And the people who don't reason will be busy telling us that why is she there to fight? She should do her job and go. Underneath these underlying factors are the same reasons you cannot do that your job safely. So knowing full well that the plot was to paint her bad because they feel that she won't leave that seat, she too invoked her own order. So people have to know that you are not in government to answer to the people who are feeling big. You are in government in your full rights as a person occupying your office. That is the difference between the West and Africa. Nobody lords over you, whether it's Oga. They have their rights in their own office. Even if it's your boss, they function in the specification of their job, not in trying to do all this insubordination of a thing.
We are birthday mates. We were all in Akpabio because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends. We went to Akpabio. And at first we were at Ikotepene, where his house is Ikotepene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just 3 of us. We were walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that. This designer here, he bought this one. I was like, what is beautiful? And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, do you like my house? I said, of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste. He said, now that you're a senator, I'm going to create time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it.
These are very grave allegations, and I don't feel that somebody like Natasha, knowing the office she occupies and the office of the person she is talking about, knowing the strength of those offices, I don't think that she will just come out to social media, and knowing also that these things will go viral, to rant and to malign anybody. She's a lawyer. She understands the seriousness of making allegations. She understands that the person you are talking about can sue you, and that you have to prove your point. So it's not a situation of trying to use sentiments. She's misappropriating fund. Which fund? She has shown evidences that
the trend or the norm is that if there is no event or happenstance that utilizes the money, we are supposed to share the money. I said, how do you mean? She said, the money is usually shared. I, as a chairperson, I'll take a part of it. I'll give some to my deputy, and the rest of the money will be shared amongst the staff of the local content committee. And I was like, did you say that is what happens? She said, yes, that is what my predecessor did, and that is what happens in all the committees in the National Assembly. I said, well, you know what? That money, if it's meant to service the operations of the committee, it's not meant to enrich my pockets. It's not meant to enrich the pockets of the staff. I would not want to collect this so-called impress. So I would advise that you keep that money in the account, and we build the money. We use it for whatever it's needed. If we have to buy office equipment.
Immediately they removed her from this committee, money started disappearing, or they started doing withdrawals. When you ask them, they're going to come up with things they're doing with these monies. But are these things expedient? Somebody who is frugal and managing the money of the committee knows when and how to use those monies. But some people with itchy fingers want those monies disappearing. Of course, they are going to cook up things they say they use the monies for. And that is how these people operate. That is why we are impoverished. That is why nothing happens. This local content of a thing is what we have been hammering to improve the capacity, employability, and the expertise of Nigerians and utilize them in the home front to avoid all this brain drain. Something the government should pay serious attention to. How can such office not even have a printer? These people in government are not serious people. So they wait for allocations. When they come, they share it. How can you tell me that in government there is nothing to be done? Every minute per second, issues are coming up, things to fix. He takes somebody who can spot these areas of development to utilize those funds for them. But those who don't know their job will tell you that there is nothing to be done. The money, we don't have anything to do with the money, and they share it. Behind all the gra-gra, we don't see the main issues. So for people who are packaging Akpabio and trying to make this woman look childish and sentimental, sorry. You know the ordeal of women in offices, in government. I can testify. It's like, it's a crime to look beautiful. It's a crime to have substance. People, they start tearing your body. They start doing a lot of things. Molesting you, sexualizing you. Casting aspersions on you. It's almost like you cannot grow in career if you don't service one idiot somewhere. Oh my. I'm getting angry right now because it's reminding me a lot of things. Sometimes you ask yourself, you begin to believe the lies. They dramatize these behaviors to make it look like you are the wrong person, whereas they are the wrong people. How can you be asking a married woman out, even if she's not married, and you're a married man? You are the so-called number third citizen of the Senate. Come and tell us that she made up the story and prove it too. But for now, the information in the public is what we work with. And considering who these accusations are coming from, there are elements of truth in them. Was there a party? There was a party. Do you have a relationship with this person somehow? Through her husband. And the husband is even your friend and worships you, and all you deem fit is to take advantage of his wife. Tell me what you people are governing. And the worst kind of it is that this same person is always in circumstances where his character is under question or under questioning. Some time ago, somebody said about slapping him for the same reason. And there are petty tendencies, things that we can notice that points to this thing having some elements of truth in them. So whether or not it happened exactly the way Natasha painted it is no longer relevant. We now know why she cannot breathe in the Senate. And somebody is busy somewhere saying nothing will come out of the case. Whether nothing comes out of it or not, she's saving her head. And if she didn't take those steps, they will spin the truth, spin the whole situation and demonize her and make her the wrong person. Whereas there is one useless stuff going on behind. The real issues are there. And they are coming to tell us to forget about nonsense and face governance. What is governance? At this point, we can comfortably say we no go gree. We no go gree, oh, we no go gree. Justice for Natasha. Women participation in politics is under threat in Nigeria. This time not by the wolves in the election ground. No, the crocodiles, the wolves, the tigers, the snakes in the judiciary and electoral commissions. They escaped the bullets on the election days. The intimidation and harassment, gaslighting in the courts. They now come to the Senate to face the real monsters. Monsters with inordinate affections. And that is why we will shout justice for Natasha. Because I know in the coming days they will come after her. Justice for Natasha. Women arise. Well-meaning Nigerians arise. I also know that it's not only the women that go through these molestations. There are men who also go through this molestation. But the ratio of women to men is over the roof. Women participation in politics. You will conclude that women participation in politics in our country is under threat. If in the Senate of over 90 persons, you have only 4 women. What does that tell you? The percentage is still in the decimals. And these people should be protected. They should be encouraged. They should be allowed to function as to encourage other women to come into politics. If actually you want women participation in politics, it's not just to say it on television. What are you doing on ground to ensure that these endangered species are not pushed out of the corridor? You would think that these people will be watching out for each other. Ireti Kingibe, Mama, she insinuated, even though she's trying to do damage control, but she already gave it up that there are underlying problems. There are problems in the Senate. And if you think that you can ignore those problems, you lie.
You did say that the Senate is not gender friendly, but it's been improving, and what is done to women is also done to men. That doesn't sound like it makes this experience okay. It also sounds a bit, to an extent, like you're minimizing Senator Natasha's experience, since you're saying that what she might have experienced is not something exclusive, but it's something that other people also experience. Now, I'm just wondering, as Nigerians, we most likely did not sign up for the senators to indulge in what is happening or engage in what's happening at the moment. I'm wondering how this public discourse, or discord, I should say, impacts the citizens' confidence in the Senate. Also, as a citizen of Nigeria, I would like to know your answer to that question.
It impacts it very negatively, and that's the only reason I've been sick. From here, I'm going to the hospital. It's the only reason.
You justify oppression, it means you have been conquered. You are afraid of something, you are playing safe. At this point, we have to remind Madam Ireti Kingibe that she's not in the Senate to babysit Natasha Akpabio. She's there in her full right as a senator. Who is there to represent her people? The reason you are becoming redundant now is the same, because you are afraid to fight. Want peace. When Wike brought his troubles, you wanted peace, and you bury mole and allow peace to reign. And you stay in your corner redundant, enjoying the peace to the detriment of why you were voted. When you play safe, you drown. The field you are in is not a field to play safe. It is a male-dominated world, and not just male-dominated wolves, the kind of wolves. And good men abound, but the ones we have found in our politics are wolves, ready to devour any right-thinking woman they mix in there. We understand that you are advanced in age and you apply certain caution. You don't dare like the young ones. You because of excreta forbids to bite from the anus in a fight. If you have to bite the anus, forget about the excretas. Forget about the excreta or the physics in that portion of the body if it requires for you to bite from there in that fight. You don't want to open the cans of worms and you berate Natasha. We will not take it from you. We know that you're privy to some of these things she is lamenting, but for you, it's not for her to be preoccupied with it. But let me tell you, if these underlying issues are not fixed, you cannot govern, you cannot function. You will spend the whole of your time in secret dealing with them. Why what we see is negative results, jobs that are not done. So, Natasha is young at heart. In fact, from her age, she's just about the generation that informs the Gen Zs. They are bold, audacious, goal-getters, result-oriented, task-driven. And that's what she brings to the Senate. If you cannot face the heat, you cannot take the heat. Leave the kitchen for those who can. This playing safe cannot get the needed result in that your loyalist concentration camp. African seniority phenomenon that makes older people to think that the younger ones will play along in what seems like respect. That is not respect. That is insubordination. If you are old enough to be her mother, you won't do her job for her. And nobody should be showing anybody around in the Senate. There are house rules. Everybody should be seen, and there should be no corners where no senator should be seen. You just a forehand. These allegations are so grave that she had to ask for water. The same way Ireti is making people ask for water these days. Same way Boala carry fights come. And he was almost choking that he had to ask for water. But this one, Natasha was opening the cans of worms and she had to take water. This water drinking is deserving. We need to know what's happening in the Senate. We need to know the character of those people who are calling themselves our number 1, number 2, number 3 citizens, who are representing us and giving us wrong images. Do you know the office you occupy as a Senate president? That you are bringing this sort of rubbish. Allow Senator Natasha do her work. He took her husband going to London to meet Akpabio, to allow her wife take a bill. Of course, you can meet them abroad easily because nobody is blowing siren for them. Nobody is bodyguarding them. In fact, if they carry bodyguard, they will pay their flight, they will pay costs, they will do everything, and they can't even be doing that bossing of a thing or bossing around abroad. So they are humane, normal like human beings abroad, but when they come back to Nigeria, they become strongholds. Look at the committee she's sharing with the principalities and powers in those offices that make governance unbearable, difficult, make people that come unable to do their job. Because they have been in those offices like ancient of days, open office on Nigerians' head so that they will be sharing allocations. And if you question their methods and how they have been doing it, they will fight back. These are all the things they are bringing together to malign this woman and make it look like she's not doing anything good. But hell no. You forgot that you are dealing with the wrong generation. Natasha is of a different breed of politicians. You can't box her. And we still use this opportunity to call on the Senate, privileges and whatever committee to look into this issue constructively. Look into this issue constructively and ensure that all the concerns that Natasha has raised are not swept under the carpet. That is what happens When people say they've been raped, they've been molested, everybody's telling them, shut up, shut up, shut up. Why shut up? Why shut up? We have to be bold to speak up. And at this point, it is safe to shout justice for Natasha. Akpabio must be brought to book for abuse of power. You cannot take advantage of your office. Use government office for personal gains. Abuse of power. For molestation. If he wants, let him shout it tomorrow about the order he's trying to invoke. If there are no underlying issues, that matter couldn't have quickly degenerated to that point where he immediately says they should bundle Natasha out of the house. He's already reading his suspension, and you just think it's those few moments of I will not leave the seats or I will not go to the seats. No. This should not be swept under the carpet. This administration should look into what is happening in the Senate. And all those men who are supporting Akpabio and defending him, what you're planting is big. Now these allegations are very grave that in the coming days we will be seeing what they will do, the media onslaught, to manage the situation and repackage the number 3rd citizen of the Federation. I think the wife has also come out to defend the husband and to say the things she thinks. It's so unfortunate. I don't blame her. She's in a situation right now where she has to either stand with her husband or swallow shame. It's difficult to be the wife of an Akpabio at this time. I must also say she's beautiful and intelligent. She doesn't deserve this embarrassment. But Mama Akpabio, don't push it. You don't have to defend him. You don't have to come and make these statements. I understand his job is in the line. His reputation, the reputation of your family is also. It's difficult how some people who didn't initiate problems will be the ones to manage those problems sometimes. It's so annoying. The wife defending him is understandable. But for all that packaging that they are coming to do in the coming days, we will still discuss it.